What if living well with bipolar disorder has less to do with completely changing your life and more to do with what you repeatedly do in the small moments of your day? Because when I was first diagnosed with bipolar disorder, I think part of me was looking for the big answer, the perfect medication, the perfect routine, the thing that would finally make bipolar disorder disappear into the background of my life. But over time, I learned something incredibly important. Stability is often built in minutes, not miracles. It's built in the minute when I decide to get out of bed, the minute when you check in with yourself before saying yes to something, the minute when you take your medication instead of deciding you feel good enough to skip it, the minute when you recognize something about my mood feels different today, the minute when you decide to go to bed instead of staying awake for another 3 hours because your brain suddenly has 17 incredible ideas. Those minutes actually matter, and that's what I want to talk about today. I call it the MindFit Minute. Not because every habit I'm going to talk about today takes 60 seconds, but because I want you to begin thinking differently about bipolar wellness. You do not have to overhaul your entire life today. You need to start creating small rituals that make it easier to protect the life you're building. And today I'm going to give you 7 daily rituals for living well with bipolar disorder. Not perfectly, not without difficult days, but intentionally. Ritual number 1, check your internal weather before you check your phone. One of the easiest habits to build is also one of the most powerful. Before you start scrolling, before you open your email, before you check Facebook, Instagram, the news, or whatever happened overnight, check in with yourself first and ask yourself some simple questions. How did I sleep? What's my energy level? How fast are my thoughts moving? What emotions are the strongest right now? Do I feel like myself? Think of it like checking your weather before leaving the house. You wouldn't look outside, see a thunderstorm, and pretend it's sunny because that's what yesterday looked like. Your emotional weather deserves that same kind of attention. For someone living with bipolar disorder, small changes can sometimes matter. Maybe you've slept less for several nights. Maybe you're suddenly feeling unusually confident and productive. Maybe your thoughts are racing faster. Maybe you're becoming more impulsive. Or maybe you're getting out of bed feels 10 times harder than it did last week. You don't need to panic every time your mood changes. You simply need to notice. Awareness gives you options. Ignoring what's happening takes those options away. Ritual number 2, protect your sleep like it matters because it does. If there's one thing I have learned from living with bipolar disorder is that I cannot treat sleep like an optional part of my schedule. And this one can be difficult, especially when your brain doesn't want to cooperate. When you've got racing thoughts, when you suddenly feel productive late at night, or when you're depressed and sleeping at unusual times. I've had seasons when my own sleep schedule was far from ideal, and I've learned that when my sleep starts changing, I need to pay attention. So create rituals around sleep. Maybe it's turning your phone off at the same time every night, dimming the lights, avoid working in bed, putting tomorrow's worries on paper instead of trying to solve them all at midnight. And when you're noticing a significant change in your sleep cycle, along with other mood symptoms, that's information you want to share with your treatment team. The goal isn't I have to sleep perfectly every night. The goal is, am I going to respect how important sleep is to my brain? That's a completely different mindset. And ritual number 3, create a morning anchor. Your morning doesn't need to look like someone else's Instagram routine. You don't need an ice bath, 12-step skincare routine, journaling, meditation, a workout, a green smoothie, and an hour of reading before 6 a.m. You need an anchor, something predictable that tells your brain the day has started, I'm here, and I know what comes next. So your anchor might simply be take your prescribed medication, drink some water, open the blinds, take a shower, feed your dogs, make your coffee, spend a few minutes praying or possibly reflecting. Look at your schedule. The specific ritual matters. For me, routines become incredibly important because I realize I function better when I don't have to negotiate every little decision with myself every morning. A routine removes some of that mental negotiation. You aren't waking up asking, do I feel motivated today? You're simply asking or saying, this is what I do next. And that matters on those days when motivation is nowhere to be found. Ritual number 4, do one thing for your body. Mental health lives in a body, and I think sometimes when we talk about bipolar disorder, everything becomes about what's happening in the brain. Medication, thoughts, emotions, symptoms, and all of those things are important, don't get me wrong, but we can't forget that the body carries the brain around, right? So every day ask, what does my body need from me today? Maybe it's nourishing yourself consistently. Maybe it's hydration. Maybe it's movement that has been approved as appropriate for you. Maybe it's rest. Maybe it's stepping outside. Maybe it's taking a shower when depression tells you not to even bother. Personally, movement has been a meaningful part of my journey for many years of my life. But I've also learned that wellness isn't about pushing your body harder and harder. It's about learning to listen to it. Some days your body might need movement, and some days it might be telling you to slow down. The ritual is not push through no matter what. The ritual actually is pay attention and respond with care. And the ritual number 5, build a pause between feeling and acting. And this one can change everything. We've talked about the pause before if you've listened to me, especially during periods when your emotions are intense and your thoughts are moving quickly. You feel something and immediately your brain says, send the text, buy the thing, quit the job, right? Start the business tonight, end the relationship, fix everything, respond right now. But not every emotion needs an immediate action. So develop a pause. I want you to practice asking one simple question. Does this need to happen right now? Not, is this a good idea? Because when we're activated, almost everything seems like a good idea. Ask, does this need to happen right now? And if the answer is no, give yourself time or a pause. Put the item in your shopping cart without buying it. Write the text without sending it. Write the idea in your notes. Talk to someone you trust. Sleep on the decision. Give tomorrow's version of you an opportunity to participate in today's decision. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Ritual number 6. Protect one pocket of peace every day. Your nervous system needs moments when nothing is being demanded from you. I know that's difficult, especially if you're working, raising kids, taking care of a family, building something, managing appointments, trying to stay on top of mental health. Your entire day can start feeling like one long list of obligations. So protect one pocket of peace. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever you can realistically create. No productivity goal attached to it. Maybe you sit outside, walk your dog, listen to music, pray, drink coffee without your phone, journal, take a quiet drive when you're safe to do so, sit somewhere and breathe. The important thing is that you aren't trying to accomplish anything. You're reminding your brain, I'm allowed to exist without constantly performing. And those of us who are used to measuring our worth by productivity, that can be a powerful ritual. Ritual number 7. Close the day with 3 questions. Before you go to bed, take 1 minute and ask yourself, what went well today? What felt difficult today? What do I need tomorrow? That's it. You're not writing a psychological case study about yourself. You're gaining information. Maybe you say, I handled a stressful conversation better than I normally would. That's a win. I felt unusually irritated this afternoon. That's information. I need a quieter evening tomorrow. And that's a plan. That is how you begin learning yourself. And one of the greatest tools you can have when living with bipolar disorder is understanding your patterns. Not just bipolar disorder in general, your bipolar disorder, your triggers, your warning signs, your rhythms, your limits, your strengths, your needs. Because you are not a textbook, you're a person. And your wellness plan should reflect that. Here's what I want you to remember. You don't need to do all 7 rituals tomorrow. In fact, please don't turn this into a podcast, into another list of things you are now failing to do. That's exactly the opposite of what I want. Pick one. Maybe tomorrow morning you check in with your internal weather before your phone. Maybe tonight you answer one of the 3 questions. Maybe you begin protecting your sleep. Maybe you practice the pause before making a decision. Start there. Because here's something I had to learn on my own journey. I spent years of my life just dealing with my mental health struggles before finally receiving my bipolar diagnosis in my 40s. And diagnosis gave me answers, treatment gave me tools, but eventually I realized something else. I still had to learn how to live, how to build routines, how to work, how to have relationships, how to recognize my limits, how to pursue meaningful goals, how to enjoy life without constantly waiting for bipolar disorder to interrupt it. And that's really what MindFit Empowerment is all about. Treatment matters tremendously. Medication and therapy can be incredibly important parts of managing bipolar disorder, and decisions about treatment belong between you and your qualified healthcare professionals. But living well happens in all those hours between appointments. It happens in ordinary Tuesday mornings. It happens when you're tired after work. It happens when somebody hurts your feelings. It happens when your thoughts begin moving faster. It happens when your depression whispers that nothing you're doing matters. That's where your rituals come in. They become small promises that you make to your future self. I will check in with myself. I will notice changes. I will protect what keeps me well. I will pause when I need to pause. I will ask for help when something is changing. I will keep building a meaningful life one small decision at a time. Because bipolar disorder may be part of your story, but it does not get to be the entire story. Your MindFit Minute Challenge. Before you leave, I want you to choose one ritual from today's episode. Which one are you going to try? Number 1, check your internal weather. 2, protect your sleep. 3, create a morning anchor. 4, care for your body. 5, build a pause before acting. 6, protect a pocket of peace. 7, close your day with questions. Drop the number in the comments. And if you already have a daily ritual that helps you live with bipolar, please say something in the comments. It might be something that someone else needs to hear today. And remember, you don't have to build the entire 7 in one day. It just has to be one. If this episode has helped you, please like it and follow MindFit Empowerment for more practical conversations about bipolar disorder. Until next time, be empowered. My name is Jen. Please protect your mind and your peace. And I'll see you again soon. Thanks for listening.